Okay, time is 11 o'clock. I think all of you know who I am. I'm Chris Biller. I will be your instructor for this course. Thank you for coming here. This is Stat 810 Alpha Seminar. Let's begin by taking a look at the syllabus. So in a room like this, what I'll do is just, I'll just give half to this row, half to this row. If there's any extras at the end of class, I'll just pick them up. So today's, I guess you could say, a day of first. So this is first day of school, obviously. First day for many of you to be in graduate school. This is the first time I have taught this course. First time that we've ever offered this course. First day that I ever have used a particular software program to type up my lecture notes. First day, let's see. First day that I've taught a 50-minute course this decade. I usually teach hour and 15-minute courses. So if I end up going too long, you need to stop me and say, hey, it's a 50-minute course only. So it's a day of firsts. Now, the motivation for this course is to help get you guys acclimated to what graduate school life is for statisticians. Also, the purpose here is to give some advisement so that you understand, well, what are some opportunities for you with a degree in statistics? So we'll talk about stuff like career paths. We'll talk about how to get internships. But then we'll also talk about some other bigger picture things such as ethics associated with being a statistician. So overall, I think there's a lot of good topics. Don't anticipate this course will be difficult, which is often very good to hear from a professor the first day, of course. There will be assignments throughout the semester, though. And of course, I expect you to do them. But this isn't going to be your typical statistics course where I'm going to have you do some proofs. I'm going to have you, do a statistical analysis. Unless you really want me to, we could do some proofs and other stuff like that. But I think you'll have good opportunities in your other courses to do stuff like that. Okay. So let's see. Let's take a look at the syllabus then. Obviously, again, my name is Chris Builder. Please call me Chris. Do not call me Dr. Builder. Again, call me Chris. Do not call me Dr. Builder. I give you a little background about myself, and I think many of you heard this during our orientation last week. I'm a native Nebraskan. I grew up in the Omaha area. In fact, I think I am the only native Nebraskan that's a faculty member in our department. I got my undergraduate degree in mathematics from University of Nebraska-Omaha. And then I got it in 1994. Then I was like, okay, I want to go to grad school for statistics. Where should I go? Should I go down the road to UNL? No. Well, the reason was because they didn't have a department of statistics then. So I went to Kansas State University. I got my master's and PhD there, my PhD in 2000. After that, I went to Oklahoma State University and I was a professor in their Department of Statistics for 3 years. Then about 2002, I heard that UNL was finally forming a Department of Statistics. So I thought, oh, this is a great opportunity to come home and be able to get football tickets. In case you don't know, we have sold out every football game at the university since 1962, although that streak almost came to an end this year because we still have football tickets in July. Hopefully things will turn around with football. But anyway, so I decided to come back here because I wanted to come back here to my family. I wanted football tickets, and I thought it was a great opportunity to start a brand new Department of Statistics. So essentially, I was the first hire for the new Department of Statistics that started in 2003. Now, there were already other faculty that were here, but they were from other departments on campus that came together to form the Department of Statistics. Okay, so my office, let me actually pull up my syllabus. Okay, can you see that? Okay. So my office is, Hardin Hall 342C, and if you haven't been, most of you are not too familiar with Hardin Hall, but this is a map of where Hardin Hall is right here. Of course, the Department of Statistics on the 3rd floor, the north wing of Hardin Hall, and my office is tucked away in the corner. If by chance you were here last spring and you met me, like on a recruiting visit. I'm actually in a different office, but it's still in the corner. It's right next to the office I was in before. Okay, so my office hours will be Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 3 p.m. This basically is like right after the Stat 850 course, so if I'm not there at 2 o'clock, be patient. I'm walking across campus. There's my email address, and our course website is available through chrismiller.com. Never been there before. This is what it looks like. And you can just get to Alpha Seminar by clicking on Stat 810. And eventually you get there, you're on the course website. Or just chrismiller.com/stat810 will work too. I do not use the course management system that the university has here, which is the main one right now is Blackboard, although there will be some, I would anticipate changes in the future. I do not use that for teaching unless I post grades at the end of the semester that way. Okay. So let's talk about textbook. Okay, so this is the required textbook for the course. There's really not too many books to choose from for a course like this because I think there's only one other course in existence in the Department of Statistics that is essentially like what we're going to do in this course. University of Iowa does it. Although there's going to be a lot of similarities to what the University of Iowa does, but there's going to be a lot of differences too. And so anyway, I think this is a decent book. I read it last spring from first page to last page for the first time, and I thought, yeah, this will fit our course, or at least half the material what we're going to be talking about. Now, when I started writing up lecture notes this summer, I found that I wasn't really referencing it too much. So, at least right now, for the assignments that I've created, for example, I don't say, okay, go do problem number 5 in this book. I do not say, there's a few places where I say, take a look at this book for more information. That's how I've been using it so far. Now, I'm sure, all of you are probably on a limited budget, and you're thinking, well, should I buy the book or not? I still recommend buying the book. I think it can be a good reference. Like I said, I have read through the whole thing myself. But as we go along the semester, as I write new lecture notes, maybe I will be using it more. Now, for grades in this course, there will be a number of assignments. Basically, as you will see shortly, I broke up the course into a number of different main topics. And for each main topic, there will be a relatively small assignment. I do not anticipate exams, but we can have them if you really want to have them. But at least right now, I do not anticipate exams. Again, this is the first time I've taught this course, and there's not many examples out there of how to teach this kind of a course. And so what I decided to do for grades on the syllabus was just simply say, excuse me, total number of points earned and a total number of points possible for assignments. Maybe I might give you like a 20-point assignment for one topic, maybe 15-point assignment for another topic, and so on. And so at the end of the semester, I'll just add up all the points you've earned, divide by the number of points possible. Also with this course, it's just pass, no pass. And so what that basically means at this university, roughly speaking, anytime you take a pass, no pass course, is that if you get greater than or equal to 80% as a graduate student, it's a pass. Less than 80%, it's a no pass. So that's what I'm going to do here in terms of your percentage grade and assigning a final grade overall. Now, with these assignments, all these assignments will be you will be doing these electronically. So you need to type your answers up in like a Word document or create a PDF document that has your answers in it, and you need to hand or email that document to me. That's how you're going to turn in your assignments. Now, of course, when you do these assignments, you need to do them like you would like at a job. Meaning you do them in a professional manner. You make sure you got your grammar right. You're using proper English. You're using complete sentences. You're not using terms that maybe I'm not familiar with, in terms of like, various abbreviations or whatever. So if I find as though that I think what you're turning into me is done in an unreadable or unprofessional manner, I will say, okay, redo this, and I will take off points for it. Rarely have I had to do this in my career, but there have been times where I have had to do this. So make sure what you hand in looks nice. It's professionally done. Also, no late assignments are accepted, so the due date is the due date. So get it in by the due date, any kind of assignment. All classes this semester will be recorded. So as you can see here, I have a webcam that is set up that is recording live action video of me. It's also recording too what you see. This is my computer screen. It's also recording what's on my computer screen in addition to any kind of annotations that I make. I have a nice little pen here that allows me to make the annotations. I have a Surface Pro 2 in case you're curious. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll get a Surface Pro. Let's see, they have the 3 out, they have the 4 out. I'm waiting for the 5. Once the 5 comes out, I'm going to buy a new one. I've been using tablet PCs since about 2003. I'm proud to say I have not written on a chalkboard or a dry erase board since 2003 in teaching. Some people might not find that something to be proud of, but I am proud of that. I like to use technology. So anyway, so everything's going to be recorded. I hope to post the recordings of class by 5 p.m. of the day of class. If it's not there, just be patient. And so what you can use these recordings to do is to review the material as needed that we talked about in class. And if by chance you were unable to attend class, you got the recording, you got it back up. Just don't take advantage of it and decide not to come to class. Okay? Now, we do have a final exam period. Exactly what we're going to do in that period, I'm not for sure. Again, it could be an exam. I'm leaning towards not having an exam this semester, but it could be. But we will plan on meeting on Tuesday, December 13th at 10 o'clock in this room. So my expectations of students, what you're going to see is a lot of course lecture notes that we have. I type up all my lecture notes, and then during class what we do is I annotate them as we go along. I expect you to understand all the material that's in the course lecture notes, unless for some reason I say, don't worry about it. Review the class recordings as needed, complete the assignments, and of course, ask questions when something is not clear. Now, there's a few other statements that the university requires me to put on a syllabus. You can see these general statements on my course website, and I will show you where to find that shortly. Are there any questions? Make sure I talked about everything that I wanted to.
Is this book in the bookstore?
It should be. It should be. If it's not, let me know. With these books, we have, I had to make a decision like in, I would say March. And it's like, well, I don't know, I haven't taught the course before. So I tried to read as much as possible before I had to make a decision, so that's how this came about. Still, I think it's a good book, even if by chance I don't end up using it much. Let's see. So, again, this course is for your benefit. It's supposed to serve as a form of advisement to make sure you're getting off to a good start in a master's or a PhD program. Already, in the last 2 weeks, in my working with students as a graduate chair, I have encountered 2 instances where it's like, oh, if a student had only had this Alpha Seminar course, that student wouldn't be going through the hardship that they are doing right now. I won't get into those details in case you've talked to those students, but that's why I think a course like this can be helpful. And I anticipate that there's going to be some stuff that change on the fly. And if you have suggestions of what you think would be useful in this course, please let me know. Don't necessarily just wait till the end of the semester when you do our course evaluations. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about the course website. It's not too large for a course like this. So here's simply the home page, and I have a content web page here that contains the various materials that I have created for you that involve the content for this course. And what I've done is I've tried to break it down to the various topics that we're going to be talking about. So, day number 1, that means today. Here's the link to my picture of where my office is located. Here's the syllabus. Here's that syllabus supplement. And then we also have an additional help document that I created to help you out with the listserv that we're going to use. I'll show you that listserv shortly. Also today we're going to do an introduction to the program. Here's the corresponding lecture notes. I will pass those lecture notes out today, but this will be the last time that I pass out lecture notes. So what I would recommend then for our next class period, where we will at least start career paths, I recommend that you download those lecture notes to your computer. Either bring your computer to class and type notes on top of that. So for example, these are all PDF documents. You can use a program such as like PDF Annotator. It's a 30-day free trial if you want to just try it out first before purchasing it. You can type your notes. You can type the notes that you're taking during course into that. Or you can bring a printed copy of the notes with you and just simply write your notes on that. That's what I would recommend that you do. Now, you'll notice here it says intro 1 per, intro 4 per. What does that mean? Well, these are exactly the same notes except for how I actually am displaying the notes in a PDF document. So 4 per means this. There are essentially, blow this up, 4 pages per, you can say, sheet of paper. The 1 per is that there's just 1 page of my notes per sheet of paper. Now, why did I do that? Well, my lecture notes here are done in this format in basically a size 20 or so font. And the reason why I use such a large font is because, depending upon the classroom that I'm in and how far students are away from the screen, I want to make sure you can read it. So that's why I use a large font when I type the stuff up. Now, if you choose to print off my lecture notes, you probably don't want to print them off one page per sheet of paper because it's going to be so big. So what I recommend that you do is you either print them off 4 pages per sheet of paper. If you don't know how to do that, here's simply Adobe Reader. I go under File, Print. I apologize that this is small. Also, it's not being projected very well here because I think it's having problems with my native resolution on my surface here. But I think you can kind of see here where it says pages per sheet, and you can do 2 by 2, for example, and that's how you can do 4 pages per sheet of paper. Some people in my classes often like 2 pages per sheet of paper. Do whatever you want. If you really want to do 1 page per sheet of paper, that's fine. Just realize that you're killing more trees. Okay. Now, let me actually go back here. So you're also going to see your first assignment is available there too. I'm going to type the assignments in Word documents because that way you can simply download that document, type your answer in that Word document. I think it would be easier. So I'm going to try to type them in Word documents. But you can see here I have some lecture notes written already this semester. Also, there's going to be various other documents, such as here's a little article that I wrote in a magazine for you as well. But whenever you see that 1 per, that means it's my lecture notes. The reason why I did a 1 per here and a 4 per here was just to give you an example of what it would look like. 4 pages per sheet of paper. Other lecture notes have not been written yet. let's take a closer look too at these lecture notes. Now, I will pass these lecture notes out shortly. So this is the first time for me teaching that I'm not using Word to type up my lecture notes. I'm using another software package called LYX, L-Y-X, and you'll learn more about that in Stat 850. Basically, without going into all the details, it provides a nice graphical user interface to another software package called LaTeX, if you've heard of that. And so anyway, so I've had to change a little bit how I type up my lecture notes. And I've noticed in some cases where it's like, well, I don't like that. I don't like how it's been done. So if you have ideas for improvements of how I structure my lecture notes, let me know. But already I don't like the fact that there's not going to be, as you will see when I pass out my lecture notes, there's not going to be much room for you to actually write out notes. I hope to solve that problem in later implementations of my lecture notes. Also, some of the print quality is not as good as I would like. So, you know, overall, I mean, I think this is going to work well. It's just not necessarily at the same level that I would like. Okay. So let's go over here to the schedule web page. You know, I could have combined the schedule web page with the content web page. I decided to keep them separate. I think it just helps in terms of organizational purposes. And so this is a tentative schedule for what we're going to be doing this semester. You'll notice here, for example, I have video. So once I get back from class, what I would do is click on some things on my computer, and my video that I created for today will be uploaded to a server on campus, and that server is going to do some stuff with it. And again, hopefully by the end of the day, it will be done. Once it's done, I will post the link to what the recording of today was. I will post it to right there. Also, you can see various days that we are not having class because of the various days that we have off from the university. I think one of the highlights this semester will be is that this summer I've talked to a number of our alumni from our department, and I have already scheduled 3 alumni to be guest speakers for our course here, and I think they will give you some good insight of, you know, what they thought was important with the statistics program here, what they wish they would have learned in the statistics program. Also, we'll give you some ideas of career paths as well. I've tried to choose these alumni here based upon that they have all done different career paths. And then lastly, with the website, we have the Listserv. So with the Listserv, let me find the corresponding window. What the Listserv is going to allow us to do is basically to communicate as one group. Simply put, if you email this particular address here, you will have a message that's posted to this Listserv that will be summarized in a message board-like format. Also, when you do that, it will distribute this email to everyone in our course as well. Okay. Get a little bit more idea of how to use this Listserv. You know, what I use it for is to contact all of you. Like, let's say, for some reason I'm unable to teach today, class is canceled. I will post it here. And this will be then distributed to all the students. Also, you know, various things about assignments, I will post information there as well. And to get an idea of how you can use the Listserv in terms of what you could post to it, here's a little welcome message that I typed up, or I posted a few weeks ago. And again, it's not coming in clear because of the projector. And let me just focus on some stuff that this is saying. So, post messages to the Listserv regarding, let's say, questions about the content in the course, questions about assignments that you may have. Post it here. Do not email me that. Don't email me that stuff directly. If, though, you have a question about your grade, or you wanted to let me know that you're going to be absent from class for some reason, that's okay to email me that. But if you're ever in a situation where you're not for sure, well, should I post it to the message board, the listserv, or should I simply email Chris directly? Ask yourself, will other students benefit from seeing your question that you're posting and my response? If the answer is yes, post it here. If the answer is no, email me directly. Okay. Now, in order to get these emails from the listserv to be sent to you, you need to subscribe to the listserv. And this is a requirement for this course. If you come over here on the right side, you see a button that says subscribe. And this is all filled out because I'm already subscribed to it. The main thing that you'll need to do is put in your name, put in your email address, or where you want emails sent to. You can go with all the default subscription options, and down here you'll see a button that says subscribe. So you just click on that and you subscribe. Okay. That will then allow you to not only receive messages from the listserv, but also allow you to post to the listserv by using that email address there. And I can see that this screen is actually being partially cut off too. It's not going all the way to the edge. There are other ways that you can post messages to the listserv. So let me go back to the home page for it. So if I click on Post New Message, I can go ahead, type a subject, type a message, and it will be posted to the listserv too, if I didn't want to actually do the formal email. So in some respect, this listserv is essentially like a message board too. All the postings for this listserv will be summarized by month there. Okay? So it provides a nice historical record if, let's say, you, for some reason, decided to delete a message. Now, in order to post a message through this technique that I just showed you here, there's a few extra steps that you need to do with your subscription to the listserv, and I detail those steps in my listserv help, if you're interested. Okay. So I think that covers the course website. Again, I'm not going to use Blackboard or any course management system other than maybe just to post grades. Everything's going to be posted here. Are there any questions? Okay, next let's talk about the lecture notes. So my general style for a course is to type up my lecture notes, and we simply go through them during class. I will add content to the lecture as we go along, so not just everything is in there. And you will want to take notes. Again, this will be the last time that I actually pass out the lecture notes in class. You will need to download them yourself in the future. I printed these off again, 4 pages per sheet of paper. In the end, the font was maybe a little bit smaller than what I would have liked. Again, you know, I'm experimenting with exactly what's the best format to use. Also, I think, especially with these lecture notes, I ended up typing it more like a book rather than lecture notes. So it's a lot of paragraphs. Then again, you know, if you're to do, let's say, a formal presentation, let's say like at a conference, as we will talk about later in the semester, you know, in that case, you want to basically just use bullets. You want to use quick points throughout a presentation, and that's different from doing a lecture in a course. In a lecture in a course, you don't want it to be exactly like a book, but you do have more freedom to you know, write in complete sentences. And perhaps I went a little bit too far here, writing in lots of complete sentences. But this is what I've done, at least for these notes. Okay. Now, so this is an introduction to the program. So it gives you some ideas regarding our requirements for the program and also tips for success. Now, it was my understanding that during the orientation that occurred last Monday, you did get some of this material in terms of This is what you need to do for a master's degree. This is what you need to do for a PhD. Is that correct? Okay. About how long did you spend on that? 10 minutes?
Yeah, course-wise.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not for sure why they did that. I said to them, with this new Alpha Seminar course, if you look at the course description, first thing it says, program description. So perhaps an orientation such as that before the semester begins, it doesn't necessarily, would not be appropriate. But this is what they did. And I apologize if some of this is review, but if we go over it twice, then we know for sure you're going to get it, right? Okay. So first of all, some very basic stuff. So the University of Nebraska itself, it's a system of 4 universities. Obviously, the one we're at, University of Nebraska-Lincoln, or hyphen, as a dash. Then University of Nebraska at Omaha, where I did my undergraduate. University of Nebraska Medical Center, which happens to be located in Omaha, except for the dentist school, which is actually located on East Campus. And University of Nebraska at Kearney. Now you're going to notice sometimes in my lecture notes, I have some stuff that's in blue. That means, oh, I forgot to put UNK after I had already posted my lecture notes to the course website. So if you ever see anything blue that's typed out like that or written out, that means, oh, I forgot. Please add that to your document. So for a long time in the state of Nebraska, it was just the University of Nebraska itself. Then in the late 1960s, the University of Omaha was having some financial difficulties. It was actually owned by the city. And they asked to become part of a new University of Nebraska system. So at the time, the University of Nebraska consisted of Lincoln and the Medical Center. It was actually just one university together. So in the 1960s, when University of Nebraska at Omaha joined the system, then they said, okay, or join the University of Nebraska, let's make it a whole statewide system. And so that's how that came about. University of Nebraska at Kearney in the mid to late 1990s, they were called Kearney State University, part of the state universities of the state. We have Peru State, Wayne State, Chadron State, also had Kearney State. And they threatened to become Nebraska State University. And in Nebraska, we know, hey, this is a small state. We want to all work together. So we brought Kearney into the system itself as well. And so now we have 50,000 students that are part of the University of Nebraska. Obviously, they function as separate universities, but they also do jointly share a number of things. And so, for example, when University of Nebraska-Lincoln joined the Big Ten about 6 years ago, a lot of the benefits from the Big Ten, excluding the athletic benefits, a lot of the academic benefits also went to these other campuses as well, without going into all the details. But one reason why I want to bring up this whole system here is because students can take courses at any university with relative ease. So where this affects you most is that sometimes our students in our department will actually take courses from the Department of Biostatistics and the Department of Epidemiology at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, located in Omaha. They do offer some distance-based courses so that you don't have to actually, let's say, drive up to Omaha. But we have had students drive up to Omaha. You know, especially it works out well if it's just, let's say, a one-day-a-week course. So for example, some of you have already met one of our students, Brianna Hitt. She took 2 courses with UNMC last year. A course called Semi-Parametrics that met once a week there. And then she took an online course, Intro to Epidemiology. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question here. Could someone tell me what biostatistics is? How is it different from statistics? Or is it different from statistics? What's the definition of biostatistics? Anyone know?
That's applying biology, medical,
Yeah, exactly. And basically, the medical one is the big aspect. So, University of Nebraska Medical Center, it's the med school. And so they have a strong need for statistical help, and they call it biostatistics. So what you will see for big research universities, University of Iowa, University of Minnesota, University of Nebraska, you will see a Department of Biostatistics that's focused on statistics for the med school. A lot of the stuff that they do is exactly what we do here in a Department of Statistics. To be honest, I wish we just had one old Department of Statistics in not just the University of Nebraska, but at Iowa, Minnesota, and so on, because it would help combine the resources. But very typically, the statisticians that are working with the med school people, of course, they're going to be at the med school. They're going to be located in a separate place, or they're going to need to be located in a separate place than from the other statisticians that are at the university. So that's why these separate departments have developed. The Department of Biostatistics at UMC has been around for a while, but they just recently started offering master's and PhD programs. And so that's why now this has opened up opportunities for our students to take some of their courses as well. Their PhD students are actually required to take some of our PhD theory courses here in order to get a PhD. But the programs are very similar in terms of what you learn. Obviously, with the biostatistics program, you're going to be focused maybe more on courses that are geared towards medical applications. So oftentimes you'll see what's called a clinical trials course in a Department of Biostatistics. Also, typically a Department of Biostatistics, there will be a little bit less emphasis at the PhD level on theory. So anyway, that gives you some background into that. Now, UNO has just recently started a data science program. Can someone tell me the difference between data science and statistics?
It integrates like more computer programming.
Exactly. So you can say statistics. I think what has now evolved, because the term data science is fairly new. What has evolved is that data science consists of three components: statistics, working with databases, and more computer science applications of like machine learning. Okay, those are the three main components. Interestingly, I still remember my first day of graduate school, actually the orientation that we had. I remember my department head getting up and saying, statistics is the science of data. Okay, so why do we have something separate called data science? So to some respects, some statisticians have not necessarily liked the evolving term data science, but I think it's here and we're going to have to live with it. So anyway, so they've started a master's program in data science. And so because of that, there might be some courses there that might interest you. In particular, there is a data visualization course that they're offering through their math department. That's part of, they don't have a department of data science, though. Data science programs in their math department. There's a data visualization course that may interest you. Okay. Now also at the University of Nebraska, what's interesting, and I didn't know this until I became a grad chair a little over 2 years ago, is that there's just one graduate school across the 4 campuses. One graduate school. At UNL, we have an Office of Graduate Studies. This is what's located in Seton Hall. I would imagine that all of you will be going over there at least once during your career here to, like, for example, turn in forms that you need to, like for graduation. Now, the Office of Graduate Studies here at UNL has a very nice webpage, if you haven't seen it before, that talks about the steps to degree completion. Now, let me show you that real briefly. So I'm in now, let me back up for a second to let you know how I do some things. So this document right here, which contains a lot of writing, is in PDF annotator. I mentioned that briefly today. It allows me to easily annotate PDF documents. Unfortunately, though, the links that are here do not necessarily always work directly. I can't click on the link in this. So I'm going to go over here to Adobe Acrobat. And when I click on the link, you're going to see, oh, it didn't work. Well, a quirk of this new software, of this package that I'm using to type my lecture notes is that, notice how it cuts off at the end of the line here, the link, and so it doesn't quite get it all. It's very unfortunate, and I didn't notice that until I was going over my lecture notes last night, and it was like, why? Did I get the link wrong? It was like, oh no, it just doesn't work out very well. Okay, so steps to degree completion. You're getting the master's, click on the master's. You're getting the doctorate, click on the doctorate. And it has things nicely laid out. Of course, they just changed things in the last couple of weeks. And so when I was going through this last night, going through my lecture, I was like, oh, you changed this. But anyway, so you put, when are you going to graduate? Well, all of you, I don't think are going to graduate this fall, sorry. So May 2017 or later, and we're doing the master's as an example, most of you will not be doing a thesis. And if I click on that, then what it will do, if I page down, it gives you, I guess I'll start here. It gives you, this is new, a initial date when you need to complete stuff. And of course they have to be announced. But the main thing is, I like this down here, milestones for your first half of your program. So for example, you need to fill out what's called a memorandum of courses. So click on that. And this actually will be part of your assignment, corresponding to these lecture notes. Here's a document that you're going to need to fill out by the, if you're getting a master's degree, by the end of your spring semester. So actually as part of the assignment, I'm going to have you start filling this out. So let me just page down, obviously your name, your address. The main thing here is, well, what courses are you going to take? You might be thinking, well, geez, I don't know what courses I'm going to take. I just started here. This is my first day. Well, all of you should have some idea, and we'll talk about this shortly, what the required courses are for a master's degree. So you can start filling out the required courses. You don't have to worry about electives right now. But in the end, to get that master's degree, you're going to need 36 credit hours. And you can start filling this out now. So it just gets you in the habit of thinking about, okay, I need to complete this form. I need to complete it by the end of the spring semester. Let's start filling it out now. And each semester, I can keep on adding courses to it. Oops. Let's see here. Now, for those of you who are starting our PhD program, go back. Again, there's a steps for completion as well for doctoral students. It's going to be structured in a similar way. Very, very helpful. Okay. Also, all of you, what you should do as well is make sure you examine the graduate bulletin. This talks about the rules and regulations of graduate school. Obviously, the Department of Statistics abides by those. Make sure you're familiar with those rules and regulations. One thing that I have found interesting is that they don't actually provide program requirements, like for the Department of Statistics or Department of Computer Science or Department of English or whatever. They don't put the, what's required to get a degree. And so what they do is they rely on the actual departments themselves to publicize that information. Where do you find that? The student handbook for our department. All of you should download it soon if you haven't already. Where is that handbook? If you go to our course website or departmental website, current students, graduate student handbook, click here to download. This gives you the details, and those are some of the details I'm going to be talking about with the rest of these lecture notes. Okay. So we got 5 minutes left. and I had hoped to get farther. Let's see here. Let me see. Okay, we're going to do a little bit in these lecture notes, and I'm going to talk about the assignment. So, in terms of advisement, obviously this course is going to provide a lot of advisement to students. Now, each of you also will have a temporary advisor. Your temporary advisor comes from what we call our advisement subcommittee of the graduate committee. So in academics, we have lots of committees, lots and lots of committees. The graduate committee for our department is the one that's in charge of, master's and PhD programs. Okay? There's a subcommittee in it called the advisement subcommittee. It consists of myself and Eugene Zoe. We are the two members of this advisement subcommittee. We are your advisors. And just as a way to just assign the advisors, I just basically went, every other person did the assignment. You are welcome to talk to either of us, though, if issues come up for some reason. So you don't just have to focus on who's your temporary advisor. You can talk to all of us. But this, you can think of this as you have a first contact if needed. Okay, so this is your temporary advisor. So won't we stop there with the lecture notes? I want to talk about the assignments. As I said, I had hoped to get farther, but that's what happens the first thing. So this assignment, and for some reason I didn't think to print it off. Typically in this class, what I'll do is I'll have the assignment ready, and you'll know to download it beforehand. Okay. So with this assignment, there's going to be just 3 parts. Part 1, depending upon if you're getting a master's or PhD, as your first degree. Many of you will get the master's degree and then get the PhD. Just do your first degree that you're trying to get. What I want you to do is, if you're a master's student, complete the memorandum of course that we just saw. The equivalent for a PhD student is the program of studies form, where you simply put your name, address, and list out the courses you're going to be taking. So I want you to complete those. Number 2, this corresponds to what we're going to be starting to talk about next time. We're going to be talking about some career paths for what you can do with a master's or PhD in statistics. And what I want you to do is, without the help, let me get my pen out. Without the help of any web-based resources, my lecture notes, or other investigative searches, meaning what you know right now, I want you to tell me, basically, what are you going to do with your degree? Tell me what type of job you were planning to get with this degree when you started your program here. Okay? Tell me, give me a company or organization perhaps that you could work for with your degree in terms of the area that you want to go into. And then tell me, what salary would you expect? $1 million? No, sorry. And that should be yearly salary, excuse me. What yearly salary would you expect? And if you're not sure, it's okay to put down not sure. Okay? It's okay. But I'm just curious about what your answers will be here for number 2. So that's why I'm assigning it. And then lastly, subscribe to the Listserv that we just saw. Send a test message with it. Now, since there's going to be about 10 of you sending these messages, you need to make sure your message and your title is at least a little bit different from everyone else. Otherwise, I've seen in the past, the Listserv will reject it if you do exactly the same as what someone else has done. So just make sure it's a little bit different. Doesn't need to be much. You know, you can say test message or something like that. Okay. Originally, I was going to make this due Friday, but instead, I will just postpone a due date. It will be due sometime after our next class period. So, not like at 11:51. At least a day after our next class period, okay? So what this means to you is that, okay, I shouldn't put this off until our next class period. I should get started on it now. Okay, that's all I have to talk about here today. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, that's all for today.